Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Battle Inside podcast. My name is Chris America. I am your host, and this is my own podcast that is documenting journey. Why can't I say journeying? There we go. Journeying on my way to help me heal with my mental health, with my traumas that I've suffered through life. Currently, if you've been following, you know that I'm trying to heal through a broken relationship with children involved and all of that good stuff. So this is kind of documenting that, and it is Thursday still, May 23rd, still Michael Jordan Day. I dropped episode 8, and now I'm going to do episode 9. It took me about a week and a half between episodes, and now it's going to take about 5 hours in between episodes, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I mentioned at the end of the episode that I'm doing my EMDR. And what EMDR is I'll have to look up the real name. Give me 1 second. EMDR. So I did that today. EMDR stand for, there we go. Stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And first, let me say that I'm not a doctor, not an expert, not a therapist, not a grief counselor, or any of the sort. I'm just a guy. So please do not take what I say as the gospel of truth. And just know that this is just me giving my perspective for my own mental health and my own situation. I understand that everybody's situation is completely different and unique to them. And but that we all have like things that we can all relate to with each other, and there's similarities, and hopefully you're able to look at my life and the way that I'm doing things and just be inspired to get help. I don't necessarily need you to do it the way that I do it, but just to do something. That's all I want. I want to empower you. I want to impact your life to the point to where you go out onto your own journey to find healing and peace. And so I did the EMDR, the eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And to kind of give you the Chris America dumbed down version of it, it's basically just there's 3 ways they go about doing it. You get 3 options to choose from. Either you follow your therapist's fingers around, or the therapist taps you on your knees back and forth, or they give you these like little these balls things that vibrate back and forth. And I chose the tapping because I have ADHD. The vibrating, all I could focus on was the vibrating, and the hand movement was just too much going on for me. So I chose the tapping with my eyes closed, and that's what I did. And so the name is kind of self-explanatory. I guess it's to kind of desensitize you and help you reprocess your trauma. So this is really, I believe, again, not an expert, I believe this is for people who have suffered some sort of trauma in their life. Give me 1 second while I fix my headphones. All right. Sorry, I'm back. So as I've mentioned before, I've been sexually abused. As a child, I was probably 6 or 7 years old, and that's kind of what we went over, but before we do that, I kind of want to rewind. Episode 8. I haven't listened back to it yet. I know when I got off the computer, I know my anxiety really got the best of me in that episode. A lot of the stuff I talked about was really fresh, and I felt like I guess I did a good job trying not to throw mud, but again, I have to go back and listen, but I feel like maybe I was a little too hard on the ex. Clearly, it's not my intentions, but and I'll kind of go over it with this EMDR thing, because the EMDR kind of sends you back to memories that you've buried away, and this whole ordeal with her and these kids, her kid and my kid, it's hard for me because that takes me back. It's why I'm so protective of my son, because I don't want my son to be going through any of this. I never wanted to have a kid to go through the things that I went through. And throughout this whole process, I'm probably going to sound harsh again, but throughout this whole process, she's maybe considered the kids, but they're not something of importance to her in her decisions. And I know that sounds harsh, and she would probably argue with that and tell me to stop talking like that, but and I don't mean it in a way that she just doesn't care. I just think she doesn't understand. And she doesn't know. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And she doesn't want to listen to me when I try to talk to her about this. But from the very beginning, she kind of took bad advice from a friend who said, I know it's hard on kids, but you got to worry about your happiness. Terrible advice. And I went over the whole happiness thing. You should worry about your kids. And I told her, when she said she wanted to do it, I said, can we please? I get that you think you're not happy now, and I get that you think that this is unsalvageable, but please, for the kids, I'm not saying we have to stay together for them, but please, for the kids, can we go to marriage counseling and go to our own individual counseling and figure this out? And at least, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, but at least we can come to a healthy conclusion for that. And then we can also come to a healthy way of dealing with the kids, and helping them out with that in a healthy way to kind of ease them into it. But she wanted none of it. She wanted to be done and over with. And that's where I say that she had total disregard for the kids, because she should have made that decision. And it angers me that she didn't. And it angers me that she didn't listen to me, because I told her that I'm coming from a place of being that kid. I can connect to both of these boys because I was that kid. I was that kid that had a parent walk out of my life and never come back. And while neither one of us are biological parents to these kids, we made sure that we developed a family, and we developed a love and bond and trust as a family. The boys on their own called themselves brothers. We never forced that on them. I never forced Landon to call her mom or mommy Jen or anything like that. I let him kind of develop that, and same with her son. But they definitely love us like that we're their own. And it angers me and frustrates me that she's not giving that the respect that it deserves. She says she's considered it, and she's still going with her decision, and it just leads me to believe that she's not considered it at all. Because had she considered it at all, had she really truly known the weight of her decisions, she would have made a different choice. And again, maybe that's not her fault to a degree. It's her fault for not listening to me, but it's not truly her fault for not knowing, because you don't know what you don't know. I forgot to mention this on episode 8, but I was actually on another podcast. It's called The Uncomfortable Truth. I was on that podcast, and it started off talking about me, and because the host could relate to some of the things that I was talking about, we ended up talking about him, and it was a very awesome show to be on. I felt really good having an impact on his life, but I was able to help him connect some dots for him to his dad, with his dad's alcoholism and the child abuse that he suffered, and how they're all connected, and he had never considered it before, and he felt bad for never considering it before. And I told him, look, the only reason why I know is because not to the degree that his dad was, but I've been that kid. You can't know because you've never been that kid. You don't know what you don't know. So it was a really great interview. It was a really good discussion. You can check it out again. It's the Uncomfortable Truth podcast. Look for mental health episode 1, I believe, or part 1. We didn't even get to go into my details into what I've been dealing with and with the show. So it's going to be a 2 or 3-parter. I'm excited to get back on there, but make sure you check that out. And there are other episodes too. So it's a great podcast. I was happy to join, but so yeah. So again, I apologize for episode 8 if I made it all about me and my situation and just used this platform to vent and rant. It's never been my intention, and I almost didn't post the episode, but I do know that one of my intentions is to show people what I'm like, to be raw and candid and open and honest, and just, this is what I look like, this is what my brain goes through, this is what I think, this is how I think, and then this is how I cope and handle it, and how I'm trying to go from the negative sense to a positive sense. Sorry. And so yeah, and I kind of wanted to get, I feel like I didn't do the happiness side of it any justice because I was still so angry and so emotional and so high on emotions that I feel like I'm sitting here talking about peace, but I'm nowhere near peace. I'm furthest from it. And I got a ways to go. I got a long ways to go. And it sucks that I went from thinking that her and I could find peace together because that's the easiest way and that's the healthiest way to do it. But now I'm upset that I have to go do it alone again. And it sucks. I don't want to do it alone. But I know I have to. I have to accept it and find my peace alone. And so that's what I'm back to doing. I have to go back on that journey and get refocused on that and find my healing without her. I have to find healing in all of her decisions to not try to work out our marriage, to not even try to work out a friendship, and to basically not see me or my son or allow me to see her or her son once the summer hits. So here I am talking about don't chase happiness, find peace, and I'm just through the roof with my anxiety and through the roof with my anger and frustration. And so I hope you know that it was just a moment of humanity for me, and I do mean it. I do want to find peace. I do want to find a way to acceptance and peace and forgiveness, even though she's probably never going to ask for it, and even though she is taking somebody away from me that I love and somebody that loves me and has caused my child so much pain and caused her child so much pain, and all because we all have this stupid feeling that we say, oh, go ahead and go through the divorce because, you know, it's going to suck for the kids for a little while, but they'll get over it, or kids are resilient. And I just don't get that. I don't understand it. Again, I understand that not every marriage works. Little America's mom and I, it was the best thing to ever happen to us to split apart. But we also had to make peace with each other because neither of us get that option to take away the child, thank God. And we do. We have such an amazing relationship, as much as one can have. We always get along. There's hardly any fights. I've invited them out for Memorial Day, her and her husband and his kids, to come out to Wekiva Island so that all of us can spend time together, and I hope that happens because that's what that's supposed to look like. Is what is healthy. Not being apart, not hating on each other, not being angry at each other, not fighting all the time, eventually you got to let go and you got to make that relationship right. And I had to apologize for all the things that I did to her and everything there. And it wasn't easy, but we mended it and we built it because we both loved Landon. And little America meant the world to us, and we knew that we had to make that work for him, and we did. And it's been great. And I know that maybe part of the ex's problem is that She doesn't have that on her side. She's been at war with her ex for however long it's been, 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know. But it's been a war. They will never see eye to eye. And so maybe she just doesn't know what it means to make peace. And she thinks that I'm using the kids as leverage because that's what he does. Because he uses his child as a pawn. And I wish she would be able to see that I'm different. And I'm pretty sure that I've proved that I'm a million times different. And I just, at the end of the day, I wish she respected and cared for me and respected the fact that here's a man that is loving her child that's not his own, like it's his own. And I don't know that she or anybody else is going to find somebody like that. And I just wish that was given some, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, some appreciation, some adoration, some respect. I mean, there's a lot of things that I wish that she would appreciate and respect from me and how I've treated her, but that's definitely number one. Anyway, so I'm talking about myself again and my situation, and I'm meant to be talking about EMDR, and I kind of got on that tangent because I wanted to, I guess, iron out last episode and sound a little more calm. I'll say one more thing. I don't do enough talking good about her. And it's hard to, because it seems since the end of March to now, it's just been one terrible decision after another on her part. And she, for whatever reason, can't seem to make it stop or want it to stop. And I'll say this. Jen is an amazing woman. And I know that she's hurting somewhere. And I'm not going to go get into her personal business, but she's been through a lot too. And she has a lot of things that I know that she's never addressed. And I hope that she is. And I know that a lot of this comes from a lot of her pain and her hiding and her defense mechanisms and self-preservation. And I just know that it comes from a place of pain and a void that she has that I don't know, that she doesn't even know how to fill. And she's doing what I said. She's chasing happiness, and she's never going to find it. She's been chasing happiness since I met her. And the way that she does that, and this is no secret to anybody, so I'm not, if anybody knows her personally listening to this, I'm not telling you anything new. She mostly tries to fill that void with her running. And she will run and run and run until her body is completely diminished, because she's chasing a goal and she's chasing accomplishments that make her happy. And then, like I mentioned in the other episode, when that goal is over and that goal is complete and she's happy, eventually, because again, happiness is a reactionary feeling, she's back to square one and there's that void again. And so she goes for another goal or a different goal. And she will run herself ragged into that one. And it's funny because it's like she's running away from her problems by literally running. And I wish I could help her. I wish I did more to help her when we were together. I wish I was able to recognize it more than I am now. I mean, I've always known it was a problem, and I've always tried to talk to her about it, but I also didn't want to come off as the non-supportive boyfriend or husband. But yeah, she's had several surgeries since we've known each other. She injured her foot at the beginning of March or middle of March, and I believe that that was really the true start of the downward spiral, because she no longer had her addiction and she no longer had her thing that made her happy. And so it spiraled into a whole bunch of bad decisions by her part to make her fill that void. And they were all self-destructive, and they consumed all of us. And I wish that she would admit that to herself. But again, I did it again. I'm sorry. I'm talking about us and her, and all right, let me get refocused. I apologize. I do care about her, and I meant to say a whole bunch of good things about her, and I didn't. She is an amazing woman. She does love and care about her son, and I believe somewhere she loves and cares about my son, and I just think she doesn't know how to go about doing it, and her self-preservation and everything else is holding her back. And she was good to my boy. She took good care of him. She always helped him with his homework, and she was good to me. She took care of me a lot. I loved going on vacations with her. We always had the same interest as far as hiking and the mountains and the snow, and just we always enjoyed being together, and we were a happy couple. It's again one of the reasons why I don't understand any of this. Because even though she said when she left that she wasn't happy and she was never going to be happy and she's going to grow up to be a miserable old person, I was at a loss, because there's not a single person in the entire world that's seen us together and said, yeah, you guys are not good for each other. She took good care of me. She, in her own ways, found ways to encourage me. She made me a better person. I exercised more. I lost weight. I started eating healthier because of her. And I was happy with her. And like I've said many times before, we had our faults. I'm not going to diagnose her with anything, but both of us have mental illnesses, and it caused problems in our relationship. And we should have gotten help for them instead of just giving up and quitting, but nothing I can do about that now. So let me get back to the EMDR. So EMDR has me, so I go in, I give my therapist the update as to everything that's going on, basically what I told you, but in a much more condensed version. And then we go in the EMDR, and she wants to start with my sexual abuse. And to kind of tell you about my sexual abuse, it happened when I was 6 or 7, and it stopped briefly after that. I don't know how long it went on for. I don't know how many times it occurred to me. I just have what I call flashes of like 5 to 6 seconds to where I can see what's going on, and then it stops. I don't see a full-on scene. I don't see, I know exactly like where we were and what we were doing, but again, it's like a 5 or second clip in my brain, and then it stops. And because it happened between 6 and 7, and then it stopped, and then I went the rest of my life without anything happening to me, a lot of it is lost in memory. And I don't know if it's lost because I've suppressed it, or it's lost because you're just 6 or 7 and you forget things. But I can tell you this, I don't have any other memories of being 6 or 7. I might have like one flash of kindergarten and one flash of first grade, but it's not much. Nothing really that sticks out too much. And so I lived with that in silence for about 12 years. I'd say probably 17 or 18, around there. I think the first person I ever told was my girlfriend in my senior year of high school. And it wasn't that hard, because throughout my teenage years, I kind of had this thing where I don't know if I was convincing myself it didn't happen, or did it really happen? Did I just make all that up? And I was like, no, like, that's a weird thing to make up. And so I just I always had it in a shallow grave to where I know it's there. And I know when I think about it from time to time, it hurts. And I know that it affects my life in the way that I operate sometimes. But it doesn't hurt. It's not uncomfortable. I can talk about it. I can tell you I was sexually abused. And I really don't feel much when I say that anymore. And, but that's about as far as I've ever gone with it until today. I mean, I've since told a lot of people that it happened. And again, because I got more comfortable with it. And then today with the EMDR, she had me focus on one of the scenes. And so I did. And again, like, I'm okay seeing it. I'm okay feeling it and tasting it. That was one of the hard things for me to admit. But I'm okay with all of that. But when she wanted me to describe what I was seeing, that is when I went into the intense amount of, I guess, pain, heartache. It's okay for me to internalize it, but to vocalize it was hard. So hard that it would take me a while to get there, to tell her what happened. Like, not just say I was sexually abused, but just to actually describe what was happening. And for the first time in a long time, I felt ashamed. Even when I was a teenager, I knew that I could think back to that time and say, Chris, you were a young kid. You didn't know what you were doing. It wasn't your fault, so you shouldn't feel bad or feel ashamed of it. And until today, I thought I had that under control. But I didn't. I felt an immense amount of shame. And even though I knew that my therapist wasn't going to judge me and anything like that, I felt ashamed to tell her. And I felt a sense of protecting that other person. I'm trying not to give too many details, but just know that I felt a sense of protection. And it's a sense that I've felt since it happened. And then I felt a great amount of sadness. I don't know if I felt disconnected, but I could see little 6-year-old me, this little boy, and he is scared, and I don't even know if he was scared, but he just... I just felt so bad for that little boy. He didn't know what was going on. And he just wanted to make that person happy. And I felt like, why did that happen to him? Why did that happen to that little boy? And then my mind kind of really unlocked itself and connected dots all the way up to my current ex, of how that experience has affected my self-worth, that I have to always try to please people to make them happy, and that my value is in pleasing others, whether that's sexually or not. I'm always trying to make other people happy, because if I do, then I have value to them and they won't want to leave me. And it's why when someone like my ex leaves me, I feel used. Because that's what I felt like when I was 6. I felt used, and then when I was done being used, there was no need for me anymore. And I know that's not true. I know that's not accurate, but it's what I feel and what I felt. And so when I look at my relationships in the past and I look at this one, I felt used by my ex. And once she was done with me and she had no more use for me, and she felt like her life would be better without me because she's done using me, and I'm just left. And I know now that hurts me maybe more than others when they go through relationships. Like, maybe that's why when I get left like this, why I take it so hard. Because inside of me, I'm still that 6-year-old little boy. Or at least I'm still connected to that 6-year-old little boy's feelings. And so those feelings come out. That hurt comes out. And I can't recognize it until today. But I feel used and left again. And I'm left alone to try to make sense of it all. And I get, I guess, to a point of suicidal when I just don't want to feel that pain anymore. And so I've also been the one with this person, the one with my dad, the one with all of my exes, including now. I also realize I'm always the one that has to, I want to make it work. I want to find healing with those people. And one way or another, I don't get it from them. And they're the ones that wronged me. And I'm always the one trying to take the high road to get them to, one, hear me out and hear my pain and hear how they've affected me. And I need them to know how much they've affected me. And then I want them to say I'm sorry and understand what they've done. And I don't want them to give me excuses for it. I just want them to know. I just want them to empathize with me. Because I'd give it to them. And I don't understand why I don't get it back. I don't understand why, to a degree, none of them give it back. And so it's just another lie that I tell myself, that I'm worthless because I don't get it back. And I know why. Every single one of them, I know why they don't. All of them. It's because it's too hard. It's too hard to face your mistakes, and it's too hard to own up to your mistakes. And even if you have reasons for your mistakes, and I get those reasons, but those reasons don't change how I feel. And those reasons don't make my pain go away. And again, I'm not looking for your reasons or your excuses. I'm just looking for your validation and your apology. And then I'm just looking for ways that I can talk it out and share it with you, and you can hear me out. And then I just want to just find ways together to move forward. And that's with a lot of people in my life. That's what I wanted with my dad until he died. And so the EMDR helped me come to those realizations, and now I've just spending the last, 2 hours, 3 hours, got my hair cut, just my brain processing it all and trying to come down from the pain that I have never felt for this incident, because I've buried it so much and because I've distanced myself so much and because I didn't do it. My brain fought really hard to not do it, to not let it out, to not talk about it. And I just pushed and pushed. It's weird because my hands were shaking. The pain was all in my chest and in my throat. It was hard, but I needed it. I needed to do it because I'm tired of being a prisoner to these things. I'm tired of these things running my life. I'm tired of these things causing me anguish and hurting me and being self-destructive to me. And I just want to be free from it. And I'm really hoping that this EMDR helps. And I hope that talking to you guys about it helps, and talking to my therapist about it helps. And I hope that it helps you. It's not lost on me that I'm not the only person to ever be sexually or physically abused as a child. It's very sad how many of us are there. How many of us are that 4-year-old child still, 6-year-old child, 12-year-old child, whatever it is. Man, kids are resilient. That is true, but I don't think people realize when they say that we'll get through it. We will survive it. We will put on a brave face, and we will make you think that we're okay, and we will make the world think that we're okay. But at the end of the day, we're not. And until we get help, and until we help ourselves, whether it's something as simple as getting divorced or child abuse, your decisions as an adult on a child, they're going to carry that for a long time. And sometimes they'll carry it all the way to their grave when they're 90 years old. That's what a lot of us do. That's what I've been doing for 35 years. Or 30 years, or whatever it is. And sometimes I didn't even realize I was carrying it. Or to what degree I was carrying it. My dad never abused me, but he drank alcohol. He never paid attention to me. And when he got a divorce, he walked out of my life forever. And I've carried that my entire life. And I wish adults would realize this. I wish they would stop telling everybody or stop giving advice of like, yeah, just do what makes you happy and your kids will figure it out on their own. It's messed up to have that attitude. And if you're going to go through a divorce to where you have to go through a divorce, get that kid some counseling. Help them out. Don't let them fool you. Don't let that smile on their face. Don't let the fact that they're laughing. Don't let the fact that they're having a good time. Don't try to, take them to the park and buy them toys and everything else. There's going to be that void, and you're going to need to help them figure that out. and help them deal with it, because they're just 4 or 5 or 10 or 15. We put a lot of responsibility and a lot of decisions on kids that's just not right, just not fair. Sorry, I'm kind of going off on a tangent again. So that was my EMDR. I just wanted to share with you while it was fresh. I'll probably do all of my EMDR sessions. I'll try to record afterwards because it's so fresh. Right now, I'm kind of, now that I'm talking, I'm out of the haze, but during that time afterwards, I had to come down a little bit. Even though I put the emotions in my container that I built and everything, I just still had that after effect of drawing up an emotion that I've kept buried for a long time, and an emotion that I know I've been scared of. I know I told the ex when she asked if I wanted to get counseling, I said no, because I'm so scared of addressing these problems and what it's going to feel like for me. And then I should have never said that, but here I am today addressing it now, and I'm going to push through it because I have to. I have to push through it. I have to be normal, or not normal, that's a bad word. I have to get better. I have to find peace in my life, in my brain, and in my body. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's what I have to do. Anyway, so that's my episode on EMDR. You get 2 episodes for the price of 1 today. I don't know when the next time I'm going to record. I get to move again. Yippee. Not moving into a house. I'm going to move into probably my mom's house until I find a place. So I get to be homeless some more and move again and everything else. So not looking forward to that again. I hate it for Landon because a kid needs stability and I'm not giving it to him yet. And so just another thing for me to be mad about and upset about, because I have him in the situation and I didn't have any control over it. But what can you do, but accept it and find peace. And hope one day that person that caused all of this comes to their senses and apologizes to you and to him. So, God, one of these days, guys, I'm going to have a full-on good talk, great episode. If you are feeling suicidal, please get help. Reach out to me at the Chris America, or at Battle Inside Pod. I promise I'm going to try and get an email one of these days. Or reach out to a friend, reach out to a loved one, and just tell them I need to talk and I need to share my thoughts. Please just listen to me. I really need help. Just don't do it. Whatever you do, just buy yourself some more time. You are not you yet, and this will pass, I promise. It passed for me. It will pass for you. I don't care if this is your 5 millionth time being there. It will pass again. And if you don't feel like talking to a friend, if you don't feel like talking to a loved one, and you don't feel like talking to me, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They have certified crisis counselors 24/7, 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text HOME to 741-741, HOME to 741-741, and somebody will text you back. It's 24/7 free crisis support. So make sure you do that. Or go to suicide.org if you're not in the United States, and you can find your nation that you are in, and they'll give you the hotlines. But I should really get better at having my stuff ready to go for this show, but whatever. Even if you're not, feeling suicidal, but you're feeling depressed, you get angry all the time, you have no motivation to do anything, or you've suffered traumas in your past, get help, please. For you, for your family, for your kids, for your husband or wife, whoever it is, just get help. We're all here for you. I'm here for you, and I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate your support. Please like and share. Please rate and review. Please subscribe. I appreciate all the support. I really do. It's really helped me out a lot, guys. I appreciate the love. And I'll see you next time.